say if someone asked you for one single piece of advice about what it means to lead a good life? How long would it take you to come up with that one thing? And what would you say? I think what I love about the gospel that we just heard is the way that Jesus is so quick with the answer. And it's profound. It's simple, but it's profound. The Pharisees say to him, which of the many rules that the Jews follow is the most important of all? And he says, love God with your whole self, with all your heart, your mind, your soul, all of you. And then he adds a second one, love your neighbor as yourself, as being tied to the first one. These aren't new. The first part of it comes from Deuteronomy. The second comes from the book of Leviticus. But he brings them together into one thing, which just kind of ties it all up. I say it's simple, but you know, I've spent a lifetime trying to figure out exactly how to do that. What does it mean to love God with your whole self? What's involved in that? What does it cost? What joy does it bring? And how do you love your neighbor? What's involved in that? What does that look like? How much do you have to give? How much is enough? I don't know anyone who feels that they've really settled that for themselves or that they always get it right. But we keep thinking about it and praying about it, and we keep trying. In a way, a church, a parish community like this, is a school for learning those lessons. We come here in community, we worship God. Our worship forms us to go out and do service, to love our neighbor, and that love brings us back to loving God. I've been talking for the last few weeks about stewardship and what's involved in that. We're told that stewardship involves caring for a resource, protecting it, so that it isn't squandered, so that it's used well. And I've talked in particular about our theme for stewardship this year, Share the Feast, and about how it kind of focuses on this parish community as a resource that we've been given by people who were here before us. They took care of it, they nurtured it, they've passed it along to us. Now it's our turn to nurture it, keep it healthy, and make sure that it's here to be passed on to generations who will come after us. So the next thing I want to do is invite you to listen to someone who's right in the middle of that great arc from past to present. Emma Gogol is going to talk to you, say a few words. You've watched Emma grow up. I know you love her. You've listened to her sing. And now I'd like you to listen to her speak a little bit.
Hi. When Reverend Kathy came to me last Sunday and asked me to do the little talk this week, you can imagine that I was a little bit hesitant. After all, I couldn't see why she would want a teenager to do a talk like this to the whole church. Then she told me what I should talk about, and everything made sense. Who better to talk about what Good Shepherd means to them than someone who has been going here since they were born? To me, Good Shepherd is a second family. Like I said, I've only been going here since I was born. The members of Good Shepherd have always been people who I know I can go to for anything. And believe me, being someone who not only has to go through middle and high school, but who is into theater, I need the support that I find here. For example, this past June, my band teacher suddenly passed away from cancer. The following Sunday, I came to church and everyone was asking me how I was doing and giving me hugs. Right then, I knew how important this church was to me. Some people could look at Good Shepherd from the outside and say that we're a small church and we don't have many kids, and to them that could be a bad thing. To me, it's a good thing. For example, my best friend, Mary Kate, who is not exactly the definition of tall, she's 5 feet and a quarter inch, and yes, you have to say the quarter inch because she's taller than 5 feet. If a friend calls her short, which I often do, she'll simply say, I'm not short, I'm fun-sized. Good Shepherd is the same way. We're not small, we're fun-sized. We're like that small town where everyone knows everyone, and we all get along and are able to help one another because we know them. I wouldn't want to go to a church where you don't know someone and it doesn't matter. I like getting talk to everyone each week. I also love the opportunities that Good Shepherd has offered me. I've been able to sing at the offertory many times, and I'm also giving a talk to the whole congregation. Public speaking has never been an issue for me, and I give credit to Good Shepherd for that because of these opportunities. To me, Good Shepherd is a place of firsts. My first show was at Good Shepherd, right there, when I couldn't read yet. It was one of our Easter pageants, and I remember being the Blue Bunny. I was supposed to say something, though I don't know what, but since I couldn't read the line, I stepped up in front of the congregation, smiled, while someone read the line for me, and then I went back to my spot. The Good Shepherd was also the place where I gave my first talk about a topic, and I could take it wherever I wanted. I had to give a sermon to the little kids about a reading we did with them, and believe me, trying to explain the Bible to little kids is a tough job. Simply stated, Good Shepherd means a lot to me. It's much more than a place to worship God, and I think I'm not the only one who feels that way. Good Shepherd is a place where you can laugh, a place where you can talk to anyone and everyone about anything, a place where you could come here once and come back 6 months later, and someone will probably remember you like it was yesterday that you first came. We're a fun-sized group of Christians who come together each week to worship God and help our community. We send cards and shawls to friends and family who are in the hospital. We give school supplies to kids in need, and we make it and give soup to those who need it most. We are a place of genuinely nice people, and that makes us a place to be proud of.
Thank you so much for those words. Emma asked me if I wanted to read the talk before she gave it, and I told her that I knew I didn't need to, but I read it anyway, and I thought it was perfect. Trying to explain the Bible to adults, yeah, not necessarily easy either. But I do have a few more words to say to try to sort of round things out. This is our final week of talking about stewardship in the sort of concentrated way that we've been doing. Next week is the week when I invite you to bring your pledge cards into church. We will gather them in as we celebrate the Feast of All Saints' Day, and we'll accept them and bless these offerings of yourselves, really your whole selves, not just your material resources, but the giving of yourselves to this community. Our stewardship theme this year has been sharing the feast, and it's kind of coincidental but so appropriate that we wind up this part of things on a day when we're having a potluck after service. It's an opportunity for fellowship for us and also for our Lutheran neighbors down the street who will join us. I think that potluck is not mentioned in the Bible, but really it's the perfect model for Christian community and what it should be like. If everyone brings what they can bring, what they're able to bring, what they're good at making, or what they can share, if everyone brings what they can, there will be enough. If someone can't bring something for some reason, because they're busy with a family thing before service, or because their stove was broken, or for whatever reason, anyone who can't bring something, the rest of us bring what we can, and there will be enough. And please do stay for the potluck, by the way. Whether if it's taking you by surprise and you didn't bring anything, don't worry about it. Please stay. Please join us in fellowship. We're starting at noon because our friends down the street are also worshiping this morning, and they need a little extra time to get here. But please stay and celebrate our community and help welcome our neighbors. And honor us with your presence. Sometimes presence is all people have to give. I know there are some people here who can't afford to make a big donation, and they're not really able to do the kind of hard volunteer work it takes to keep this place going. But they do what they can just by being here faithfully every week. They tie us to the past, and they help us prepare for the future. They enrich our worship just by their presence. And if they give that and we all bring what we can, it will be enough. As I drove here this morning, I was admiring the beautiful foliage, which is just now sort of beginning to fade. And I thought about how our lives are shaped by seasons and cycles. We move through the seasons of the year from spring to winter, that time just ahead of us, when all of nature seems to rest and breathe and wait for spring to come again. And it does, and life bursts forth, and it all starts over again. The cycle of the liturgical year pulls us into the life of Christ again and again. The cycle of loving God leads us naturally, as Jesus tells us, to loving our neighbor who's made in the image of God, and that love brings us back to loving God all the more. The cycle of giving. We give our casserole to the potluck. We give ourselves to God and the community, and the result is a feast of abundance that gives back to us and nurtures us and sustains us. The cycle of a church community, which has a past and a present and a future, which we can only dream of, but which we know that God is already thinking about. So as we move forward now to share the feast, I want to suggest that we do that in the spirit suggested by another simple but profound quote, this one from Doug Hummersholt. For all that has been, thanks. For all that will be, yes. Amen.